everybody. How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's up today, Chuck?
It's good to be back. Back 2 out of 3 days in studio.
In the studio, 4 o'clock show.
4 o'clock show,
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
I know,
weird.
we haven't done one of these in quite a while, me and you.
No,
in studio, especially.
I kind of forgot they existed on the last post game. I was like, when's our next show? Is it the Tuesday? And Brennan was like, no, it's Monday. We actually have a 4 o'clock show. So here we are, and there's a ton of stuff to get into. Want to talk about Porter Martone and the rest of the Flyers prospects at the World Juniors. We're going to, of course, talk about Matvei Michkov, because we do every day. We're going to talk about the Egor Zamula situation in Pittsburgh, mostly because it's funny. But right now, I have to tell you, for the last time, go get tickets for the Sweet Takeover. The game is tomorrow. Cutter and the Ducks are in town tomorrow night, taking on the Flyers at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. The best way to watch from a suite with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. The Ducks game was the best game of the year last season. One of the most fun atmospheres I've ever been in at a Flyers game, quite honestly. It's going to be even better this year because, hey, we got Trevor Zegras this time. So not only is Jamie better, so too is Trevor. So we'll get into all that and more. Make sure you come on out. Go to allphly.com/events. Get your tickets. They are still available. Game is tomorrow. Go get them now. All right,
William.
World Juniors, Charlie. The
better William.
Yes. Yeah, I really do wonder if he goes by, I mean, Cutter's a cool name. I wonder, though, if he ditched the Williams so no one could call him Billy Goat.
I think, I have to believe that's part of it, right? Because it's such an obvious nickname, Billy Goat.
Yeah, it's very, very easy. All right, so World Juniors, Charlie. Porter Martone, Canada, he's been good, but we're going to talk about all of the Flyers prospects playing in the medal round tonight, plus Shane Vansaghi. So we have Canada, Finland in 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be while we're on air is when they start. Yeah,
Canada, Finland for the bronze, Sweden, Czechia for gold at 8:30 tonight. So full slate of games, and on 3 of the 4 teams there are Flyers prospects. Let's start with those good Canadian boys, Charlie. Playing for the bronze against Finland, and they are captained by our guy, Porter Martone, 6th overall pick from last year. He's got 5 goals, which is tied for first in the tournament. 7th most points. He's got 3 assists as well, so 8 total points, tied for 7th most in the tournament. Scored the game-tying goal with under 3 minutes left in the semifinal against Czechia. Of course, they then give up another one and lose. But it was not without Porter Martone's contributions. And I just read this story by Cam Robinson over on Elite Prospects, Charlie, and it's just Cam Robinson, a really, really good analyst over at Elite Prospects, and he's got quotes from scouts and coaches and everything. It seems like the hockey world just loves this guy.
Yeah, pretty much everybody, with the exception of Jack Hahn, apparently, and we'll get that.
I've seen a couple.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
I've seen a couple skeptics.
So before we get into this, I do want to not preach, but just make this point, because I think this can get lost in the discourse surrounding World Juniors every year. You start to see people who take what they see from these guys at World Juniors and then use that to have it change their entire opinions about these players as prospects. I've seen, I think it was Anthony DeMarco, and it was very illuminating, because it's oh right, people on Twitter do this all the time. He posted a poll of who is the Flyers' best center prospect, and Jack Berglund ran away with the poll. And it's look, Jack Berglund, and we'll get to him. He's been very impressive in this tournament. He's having a very strong tournament. But just because he's been good for 7 games does not immediately make him the Flyers' best center prospect. It's just that it's the epitome of recency bias. Now, it's good that he's having a good tournament. It speaks to his ability to play well in international play, which he generally has done. And it's high-level competition. But this is not the kind of tournament where you're well, he wasn't good in it, so he stinks.
We'll get to him next.
Take it all with a grain of salt. If a guy has an underwhelming or not as good as you hoped it was going to be week and a half, it doesn't mean he's suddenly not going to be a really good player. By the same token, if somebody has a really good week and a half, it doesn't immediately make him the team's best center prospect. Doesn't mean we can't get excited. Doesn't mean we can't watch these guys. But just like remember that the larger sample is always going to be more valuable than the small sample. And this tournament, it has and always has been inherently a small sample.
And it is I know it's like a big business now and everything, but it's a developmental tournament. Like, this used to not be this way, but now it is.
It really is only this way in Canada, and then for like diehard hockey fans in general. But like the only country that actually thinks this tournament really matters a lot is Canada.
Yeah, because Canada has to assert its dominance over the hockey world, and when they don't, they then need like congressional hearings about it.
Yeah,
but exactly. Anyway, it's always think of it's a lot like just one guy having a crazy playoff. Like, yeah, man, John Druce, sure. Does that mean he's going to have a crazy playoff every year, though? Or did he just happen to play above himself for a few games? And that's always the thing in things like this. Yeah. But they are so hyper-focused. There's so much coverage.
You get to watch them on television.
This is the most easily accessible, especially for some of the European guys like Jack Berglund. You know what I don't know how to do? Watch SHL games. Yeah. I don't know. Does Flow TV have SHL? I have no idea. So this is basically our best exposure. It's on the NHL Network. You can find these games, and it is U20, but international best on best amongst guys under 20 years old. So there is something to be taken from it, but this is more fun than like, oh well, Porter Martone, 5 goals. That means he's going to be, a 50-goal scorer in the NHL. Well, maybe not.
And the funny thing is that I feel like people came away less enthused about Porter Martone because they were hoping he was going to just go out there and like blow the doors off and finish with like 14 points and be the star of the tournament. And because he didn't, suddenly it's like, well, guess we've got to put all of our eggs in the Michkov basket because Martone's not going to be a star. I saw that yesterday.
Oh, I just feel like I've seen 50-50. I've seen people who are excited by the production. I just feel like it's not like I've watched a ton of Martone, and we'll actually get to some of this stuff from like the story and all the quotes and everything. Whenever I've seen Martone, regardless of level, he does the same thing. Like his highlights and stuff from juniors last year, what I've seen in college, and now like maybe he's just a guy who's the same in every level. Really good, and like maybe he'll frustrate us sometimes with some JVR-ish tendencies, but I don't know. The playmaking looks really good, and he's got a nose for the net, so we will see.
I think he's playing more physical. You're seeing, and this is something that I've read about his play in the NCAA, Michigan State this past year, but you could also see it in the tournament. Like, he's playing with more bite. Mm-hmm. He obviously was doing quite a few agitating things during this tournament that seemed like it got the Canadian media and Canadian fans angry, and everyone else was sort of like, I don't know, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That, like he smacked the dude on the butt to give him the little like, hey, guess who won this game? Obviously, then they lose to Czechia anyway, so then whatever. But point being is that I'm seeing a more physical, a more engaged Porter Martone than I saw even in the tape that I watched of him in the lead up to the draft. So it seems like that aspect of his game is developing further. He's gotten stronger during his time in college. He's been able to get on a stronger weight program. That was in the Cam Robinson article as well. I think the big thing for me with Martone, which still showed in these games, is the pace element and the I wouldn't say decision making with the puck, because I think he generally does make the right decision. It's more that he needs to not get the puck knocked off of him as easily.
Okay.
Like he's not as good of a puck handler as I would like for him to be. Not that he can't dangle, he can. But there are a lot of times he has the puck and then suddenly doesn't. It was my same issue with Bump in camp.
Yeah.
Where it was like, there's a lot of times he has the puck along the boards and then suddenly he doesn't. Like, if he could find a way to have the puck more and not get it knocked off his stick as much, he'd be a lot better player because, hey, he does really cool things with the puck when he has it with time and space. But I think generally speaking, Martone had a good tournament. Obviously, he's got one more game. He's got the bronze medal game. He had a good tournament. I think he looked good. He has that enormous goal last night to tie the game late in regulation. Then, of course, the Czechs take the lead again a couple minutes later before it actually gets to overtime. But still an extremely clutch goal, and he gets it in the net front, gets a rebound, uses his long reach to put it around the Czech goalie. So really good play there. I just don't think he was incredible. He was good.
Yeah.
He produced. He was an important piece for his team. I just think maybe there was a hope that he was going to be exceptional, and instead he was just like good.
I just feel like he scored 5 goals. Nobody scored more. Like, all right, I guess he could have scored 7 and led by himself, but with 1 game to go, he is in the lead in goal scoring. I don't know how much more I can ask for out of the guy, but obviously we want all of our dudes to be superstars. A couple of quotes from this Cam Robinson story I wanted to hit, Charlie. One from a anonymous NHL scout who just says, Martone is a weapon. Great hands, and his vision is underrated. He sees the play extremely well. You don't see true power forwards too often, but he's one of them. And I think that gets to... like in the story, it says, you know, he added 10 pounds. He's finding a way to play with a little more pace, a little more edge, and that's leading to him looking like the power forward. It was like, yeah, he's got the size to be one. Not sure if he plays that way. It feels like that part of his game is coming around.
Yeah, I think he's always going to be a little bit more of an agitator than a true like I'm going to
throw the body.
I'm going to blow you up with big hits. But he's always going to be involved in scrums. He's always going to be around the net. He certainly doesn't shy away from going to the net, which is big for a guy with his size because you don't want him to be a perimeter player. You want him going to those areas. He scores the big goal last night, going to those areas and putting in a loose puck. So that's all good, but I get the trepidation of calling him a traditional power forward because while he does a lot of the things that you think a power forward should do, and he has certainly the size, and eventually he's certainly going to have the man strength that power forwards have, it's not like he is a... Like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but like he's not going to play like Milan Lucic.
Okay,
like, that's not his game. He's not that type of like, I'm going to be physically imposing. Like, he's going to mix it up, but I don't think he is a power forward in the sense of like, I'm just going to go through you.
All right. And another quote from his college coach, Michigan State head coach Adam Nightingale. He wants the team to be great. He'll do a lot of things that help the team win hockey games outside of just producing points. And these two things together, when you're seeing, all right, he's going to the net. That's where he scores all of his goals, net front, rebounds, stuff like that. And he does a lot of stuff off the puck. He's wearing the C for Canada. This stuff just makes me look forward to when he gets here and we won't be having the time on ice discussion. That's really, like, hearing that he does the little things, he goes to the hard areas, he's developing a little bit of an edge, like all of this just gets me excited to not be having some of these conversations about, oh, the coach just doesn't like him all that much, like doesn't trust him to play a 200-foot game or whatever. Well, here you go. Here is a guy who it seems as if, continuing on this trajectory, at least we won't be having those conversations. We can just be like, oh, he had a goal and an assist tonight. That was fun.
I do love the fact that when Martone becomes a Philadelphia Flyer and when he hopefully establishes himself as one of the better players in the Philadelphia Flyers and becomes one of the faces, maybe not the face, but one of the faces, one of the guys that you think of when you think Philadelphia Flyers, that it seems like he is going to be a really, really annoying player. And like other teams' fan bases are going to be annoyed by him. Because he did it throughout this entire tournament. You know, you were seeing other teams' fans, even Canadian fans, like, oh, he's doing so much stupid crap, like unnecessary stuff. I love that. I love the idea that like Porter Martone, who very well in 7, 8, 9 years could be a captain of this team, is going to kind of have that like Marchand-ish, like, well, if he's on your team, you love him. And if he's not, man, you hate him. I feel like that fits Philadelphia.
So everyone saw the butt slap in the opening game.
Right. He scores the empty net goal and then taunts the Czechia player by tapping him on the butt on his way back to the bench.
You made a very funny Giroux joke on Twitter. About that one. Never let that die.
Yeah.
Then I didn't see this one, but apparently against Finland after a scrum, picks up a loose glove off the ice, skates it over to the bench, and just tosses it.
Yeah, it was funny.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
I do like an annoying player. I like a D-head. Like, you need some of those guys.
And people around the league already don't like Zegras.
Yeah.
Because they've decided that he is like the embodiment of everything they hate about Gen Z.
Zegras centering Martone and Konechny, that's the Go Birds line right there.
The Go Birds line.
The Go Birds line. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about Martone. We're going to get into Luchanko and all the other World Juniors prospects the Flyers have playing. But right now, time for our first break. All right, everybody, listen up. I got to tell you how I start my day each and every morning. I start at my Wawa. Now, this might be an ad read, but I think everyone watching right now has to know how much I love Wawa. And now, Wawa's giving us yet another reason to love them. It's the $5 big breakfast deal. For just $5, you can get any Sizzly breakfast sandwich, any size hot or iced coffee, plus a hash brown every morning from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's right, a breakfast Sizzly, a coffee, and a hash brown for just $5 from your local Wawa. That's value, that's convenience, and that's deliciousness all together in one deal. And while you're picking up your coffee, check out the brand new Caramel Chocolate Craze coffee flavors. You can try caramel, you can try chocolate, or you can mix both together for a sweet treat that will start your morning off right. The $5 big breakfast deals for a limited time and exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. No need to overthink breakfast. Just grab, go, and get on your day with Wawa. Gotta have a Wawa. Do we really want Matvei Michkov playing goalie? No, it's not worth the risk, time, or money. It doesn't make any sense. You want to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best, and the same goes for your business. Togo can help any business looking to streamline operations become more efficient or unlock more time for their best people. From customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, data entry, and even complex multi-step operational processes, Togo takes it off your plate at a fraction of the cost. And every engagement with Togo starts with free process mapping and engineering. Togo doesn't bill a dime until the real work begins. With programs starting as low as $1,000 a month, you're not going to break the bank. And each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, you call the plays, we execute. Visit harnesstogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning. Togo! All right, the one thing that it does seem everyone agrees Porter Martone needs to work on is the skating and the pace. It does feel like
more pace than skating.
Like the pace, like we talked about with Denver Barkey, like you just can slow it down when you're better than everyone. Yeah. But you get to a point, and this is why I think the transition from juniors to college is huge. You just have to be more north-south.
Yes,
like
you do.
Once you start playing against, there's 24-year-olds out there, you know? Like you have to just kind of be a little bit more north-south player. It does sound like he's working on that part of his game. It's coming along. One thing I did like from the Robinson story, he goes, Martone doesn't need elite speed. He needs enough to support everything else. His willingness to engage physically bridges the rest. He creates space. He absorbs pressure. He makes defenders uncomfortable. I appreciate, like, okay, if he needs to work on the pacing, maybe a little bit of speed, like maybe all that just needs to come along as he gets stronger, especially in the lower body. I just like that it sounds as if he's on the right trajectory.
Yeah.
Is he superstar right now leading the NCAA in scoring? No, he is one of the leaders in U20 scoring, though. Just get a little bigger, a little stronger, and by next year, hopefully he makes his team out of camp.
I think that is the hope. I mean, really, the truly exciting hope is
he makes it in the spring.
He makes it in the spring, and the Flyers are on track to make the playoffs, and then they get that infusion of Porter Martone at the end of the season, and maybe even into the postseason. But there's a lot of things that obviously have to go the Flyers' way. Number one, they have to stay in playoff contention. Number two, Martone's season has to end quickly enough that he can. And with the way Michigan State's playing, like they legitimately may win the national championship, which wouldn't make it impossible, but it would make it tougher. It would give him less time to get into games. You really want to throw him in his first game in game one of a playoff series.
So we saw it with Alex Bump. He would have joined with like one game left, exactly. I think, after they won the Natty.
It would have been tough. So there's all that, but it's feasible. Let me put it this way. It's feasible. I know it's been discussed internally of the possibility, and now that Tyson Forster's out for the rest of the year. Now, I know there are some rumors that like, hey, maybe he could come back for the playoffs, maybe if things break that way, but most likely he won't be ready at the very least for like round one, and maybe Martone could be, and that would be one spot that he could theoretically take. That would be cool, but I think absolutely next year you're hoping he makes the team out of camp. I think his expectation will be that he makes the team out of camp, and just would have to have a good camp. Obviously, they got to get him signed to a contract, but don't envision that being a problem, unlike the guy that the Flyers will be playing tomorrow.
So what is Jack Hahn's issue here with Porter Martone?
He just doesn't like him. He just doesn't like him.
So this is a tweet from Jack Hahn. I just don't get it with Porter Martone. His production is strong, and lots of my colleagues like him as a player, but whenever I watch him, I'm completely underwhelmed. So the guy produces, he's good, but he's not living up to whatever your standard, like, what does that mean?
I think what it is, because if you watch Martone, and this is, I think, the thing that a lot of people, the Martone skeptics, if I had to guess where their skepticism comes from, it's this. It's that there will be a lot of possessions, like offensive zone possessions, for the team Martone is on, that seem to die on Martone's stick.
Okay.
Like, he's the last guy who touches the puck before it gets lost, before, they lose the battle in the boards or something. And if you are the type of viewer who, like, really, it nags at you when the team loses possession, Martone, at least at this stage of his development, he's involved with a lot of possession lost. And that probably is what, if I had to guess, what eats at Jack Hahn. But he notes, like, hey, at the end of the game, like, you look at the stat line and Martone's got 2 points. So he finds ways to contribute, even if there are going to be like 5 or 6 possessions in a game where, like, yeah, he's the guy who last touched the puck before the team lost it and the other team goes the other way. Not necessarily in like a transition rush, but gain possession. That's where I'm talking about when I talk about pace. Because if he's making decisions a little quicker, if he's getting to pucks a little bit faster, if he's making maneuvers with the puck a little bit quicker, maybe instead of, being at the wrong end of a possession loss 5 times in a game, maybe he's the wrong end of a possession loss 2 or 3 times in a game, and it's not as glaring of an issue. But you saw that in last night's game. You just saw a lot of like plays along the boards where it's like, oh, Martone's got it. Oh, now the other team has the puck. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's where the skeptics are coming from when they watch Martone. Like, it's a different feel, even as opposed to like watching like Michkov last year, where it was like, oh man, like when Michkov's got the puck, something's going to happen. A lot of times when Martone has the puck, nothing happens.
All right. Let's move on to Jett Luchanko, his Martone's Canadian teammate, Flyers first round pick 2024, 13th overall. Not quite the same production level that Porter Martone has had. He picked up his first point of the tournament in the semifinal. He actually got a power play assist on the goal that put Canada up 1-0 in the game. He was a -3 in the semifinal. He had 1 goal and no assists in 5 games last year. What is it about Jett Luchanko that just has me terrified? He's no good.
Well, I mean, it's clearly the production. Like, that is the reason. The weird thing about this tournament for me with Jett was that, like, they played him on the wing, and it just didn't seem like he looked that comfortable there. Like, I actually thought in the game last night, the semifinal game, I thought he mostly looked good. He obviously gets his 1 point in the tournament, makes a nice play on the power play, but he just looked like he was using his speed more than he maybe had been previously in the tournament. I was surprised they used him at wing because his hockey IQ just seems to be so much more of an obvious fit down the middle. That said, like, he's never really been like a favorite of Hockey Canada. Yeah. So it seems like he's kind of like a guy where it's like, well, yeah, I guess he has to be on the team, but like, we're not going to prioritize.
He's played in the NHL.
Yeah, so we got to put him on.
How many guys out here have played in the NHL? He's got, granted, it's 8 games, but he's done it. I just, it feels like at a certain point, and maybe it's he's more of a complete player. He does a bunch of other things. Now he's playing out of position, but it just feels like, man, at what point does the production break out? Maybe it just never does, but it just kind of feels like we're still waiting for that.
It's hard for me to envision a world where Jett Luchanko is not a decent NHL player.
Yeah.
Like, I can't envision a world where he's not at least Ryan Poehling. And that, to me, is the appeal of Jett Luchanko, is that the floor is very high. Because, like, you can be like, oh, he's a 13th overall pick. That's not a good outcome. Like, yeah, it's not an ideal outcome, but there are plenty of first-round picks, especially outside the top 10.
Wasn't Poehling 10?
Who just straight up bust. I don't remember what.
It's something like that, yeah.
I know he was a first-round pick. I think he was in the 20s. But my point is that, like, if you know for a near fact that Jett Luchanko is at least going to be a quality bottom 6 center, and, like, that's just, like, gonna happen, then it's like, okay, well, what else can we turn that into? You know, the guy who was often compared to him, and I made this comparison many times, was Ryan McLeod. Ryan McLeod is a potential comparable for Luchanko in the sense that McLeod was like a good bottom 6 center. Well, this past year, on Buffalo, he's taken a leap. Now he's more of like a quality middle six center, and he's scoring some more points, and he's improved his offense. It took time, but he's improved his offensive game. The hope is like, okay, you got a high floor, maybe medium ceiling guy. That's more what I see in Jett. I see a high floor, medium ceiling. The Flyers from the jump claim they see a high ceiling.
Yes.
Guy. I've never shared that, but I don't look at Luchanko and be like, he's a 4C all day. Like, no, I could see a world where he gets a 2C. I think that is a reasonable hope. Now, just kind of comes down to how the offense translates, how he translates to the NHL, how hard he works, how much he's able to develop his all-around game. But, like, I've never seen 1C. But I could see 2C if everything breaks right. And I think at least he's going to be a 4C. Compare that to the other centers in the Flyers pipeline where, like, yeah, like Nesbitt could be a 1C, I guess. Yeah. But, like, he could, like, never get past the AHL because he just can't skate.
Yeah, that's like... The other ones, it's maybe they have higher ceilings, but they also may never get here.
Yeah.
Jett's already been here. Like, and he didn't look terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
But I feel like people, like, when I make the Paling thing, like, it's like, well, he's at least going to be Paling. They hear that and they say, he's definitely going to be Paling. How could you have taken Ryan Paling with the 13th overall pick? No, my point is that, like, that's his floor. That is his, like, he's almost certainly going to at least be that. And then there's the potential for him to be better than that, depending on how the development goes. I hope the development goes well.
Just in terms of this tournament, Charlie, like the idea that he's playing out of position, I know they do different things well. But we used to talk about like Sean Couturier, that, you know, the Torts puts him on the wing, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, his value is as center. Like, to me, Jett is kind of similar just in terms of, all right, you know what you want him using that speed doing? Like, being the low man, getting that breakout pass off the wall in the middle of the ice, and then just zipping right through the neutral zone. Like, you want that. You want him with the puck on his stick in the middle of the ice because he is a good playmaker. Like, those are the things that you want from him, and you just kind of handicap him a little when he's not in that spot. So maybe that has a little bit to do with the tournament as well. All right, let's talk Max Westergard and Heikki Ruohonen over in Finland, Charlie. Ruohonen, a lot of people have been excited about. 2 goals, 5 assists, 4th-round pick in 2024. Westergard, a 5th-round pick this past year. He's got a goal and 3 assists. What have you seen out of these 2 guys?
Well, Ruohonen, I think in particular, has really shined.
People have been excited about him.
I don't know, like, Westergaard's been fine, and as a 5th-round pick, like, sure, you know, bring some speed, bring some skill, but I think Ruohonen's been the guy who's really, he's really shown at this tournament, and he's, again, one of those, like, sort of under-the-radar guys. You know, he's a mid-round pick. Like, Berglund at least was a 2nd-round pick. You're hoping to get an NHL player out of a 2nd-round pick. Past the 3rd round, it's like, well, you know, once in a while, you find a Noah Cates, you find an Oscar Lindblom pre-cancer, you maybe hopefully find an Alex Bump if he becomes an NHL player. But once you get past 3rd round, it's like, well, we'll see. Looks like Westergard may have something. Ruohonen, like, there's something there. The kid legitimately seems to have, like, shutdown forward potential where, like, you can give him tough minutes and he can handle them. You can give him matchups against top lines. Like, I don't love the comparison, but, like, there is some Noah Cates to his game. Okay. There's a little bit there with just, like, Ruohonen's, like, do the little things, like, not, like, he's not a physical player, but he's not, like, he's willing to mix it up. He's willing to get in the battle. I like Ruohonen. I like Ruohonen as one of the under-the-radar guys on this in this prospect board.
Man, if we ever get some top-line talent, we are just going to be able to win every game 3-0. That we have so many of the guys that are like, yeah, man, they're going to be like matchup problems lower in the order. It's just like, yeah, where's the 1C? But it does seem like there is a lot of potential for some of these guys. Let's go to the Flyers lone representative in the gold medal game. Jack Berglund, the winner of that poll, who is the Flyers' best center prospect.
He's definitely winning the hype award in Flyers world in terms of this tournament, to be sure.
8 points. That's tied with Porter Martone for, I think, like 7th in the tournament. He was Flyers' 2nd-round pick in 2024. He is also the captain of Team Sweden. It does feel like people are excited about Jack Berglund.
Yeah, he's having a good tournament. And so Ruohonen, as I said, he's a little bit more of a, like, he's not going to, like, blow people up, but he's going to battle. He's not going to shy away from physicality. Berglund will actually blow people up, and he's done it a couple times in this tournament. He showcased his hands. The question with him is always going to be the skating. It's gotten better. It's gotten better. It's still not great, but it's gotten better. And at a tournament like this, where there aren't a ton of like true burners at the top of anybody's lineup, he can really take advantage of his biggest skills, which are his size. He's huge. He plays big, and he has legitimately good hands and good hockey IQ. So he's having a good tournament, and I'm higher on Berglund than I was a few weeks ago, but I'm also not yet ready to be like, I still don't think he's anything more than a good bottom six center at the NHL level.
Okay.
And I have much higher hopes and ambitions for Luchanko and Nesbitt specifically. I think their ceilings are higher.
All right, when the Flyers drafted Shane Vansaghi, who does not make it to the medal round with Team USA, he had no points in 3 games. But when they drafted him in the second round in 2025, it was kind of like, yeah, he's going to be a little bit of a project. This is going to be a while, but we had 3 second-round picks. You kind of do that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, not having the best freshman year this year. But he did make the team. He is out there in, again, international best on best, U20, but best on best. He's out there. What can we take away from Vansaghi? Really just his draft +1 season.
Yeah, not much. Well, if you're talking about the draft +1, I can talk about that, but I'm talking about this tournament.
Yeah.
He just hasn't played much. He didn't play much. I guess the U.S. is now done. So I don't think you can take much away from this tournament other than, like, good for him. He made the team. He got to represent his country. He got to play a bit. But I hesitate to call him a project because he doesn't fit the traditional definition of a project in the sense that, like, I think he could play in the NHL decently quickly because he's old for his draft year.
That's true,
he plays a very physical game. Like, he is physically built. He could hang in the NHL as a fourth liner. He's more of a project in the sense that, like, you're maybe hoping for him to be a late bloomer offensively, where, maybe in his early 20s is when the offense really starts to come around because it's really when he starts to figure out exactly what he is at the pro level, and then he can, zero in on a roll. Obviously this is best case scenarios, but the way that Wayne Simmons did, where Wayne Simmons did not break out into a scorer or true scorer until he was in his, like, mid-20s. I don't think Vansaghi is likely to do that because there aren't that many Wayne Simmonses out there. But I do see a little bit of Wayne Simmons in Vansaghi. But like Wayne Simmons, if Wayne Simmons didn't become a 30-plus goal scorer, he was always going to be a good fourth line NHL.
Yes.
Because he just had that dog in him. He had that grit. He would fight. He would hit. He would go to the dirty areas. Like, that's just what he would do. And if he didn't become a goal scorer, he was going to be a fourth liner, fan favorite. If Vansaghi never develops his offense, he's going to be a fourth liner. He could be a fourth liner as soon as, like, a year or two down the road, I think, because of his physical ability and because of his natural talent. It's just like, can he develop more? He hasn't yet. Hopefully he does.
All right, so those are the 6 Flyers prospects who played or are right now playing or might play later tonight in the World Juniors Championship. On the other side, we're going to take a look at the NHL team. We're actually going to talk some Flyers, take a look at their schedule, the Metro standings, and everything leading up to the Olympics and the trade deadline, Charlie. So stay tuned for that. Time for our second break. Listen up, Flyers fans. I got to tell you about Elkin Chevrolet because Elkin Chevrolet is run by 3 brothers, Jason, Adam, and Josh. Not only are they real brothers, but they're big Flyers fans, and that's how you know they have loyalty. Well, this holiday season, they're making sure you get a deal that will feel just as good as an orange and black win. They have a huge inventory of Chevy trucks and SUVs, and there's no better time to grab one at a price that is not going to last. They've got the Equinox. They've got the Trax. Those are a couple of cars that family members of mine drive and absolutely love. They've got the Silverado, the Blazer, so many Chevys to choose from. So whether it's getting to the game or to work or hitting the holiday road, you'll roll into the new year in the perfect ride at the perfect price. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of that honking good service. Elkin Chevrolet is on Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. Shop now at elkinchevrolet.com. Together, let's drive, and together, let's go Flyers. Happy New Year, everybody. If you're like me, you probably want to be a little bit healthier in 2026, but that means meal prep, that means cooking, that means grocery shopping. Who has the time? Well, Factor takes care of all of that for you because Factor makes it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs so you can eat well without the shopping or cooking. And what goes inside is nothing but great stuff. Quality functional ingredients, including lean protein, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. There's no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. What you see is what you get, and it's all great. I use this, and you should too. Head to factormeals.com/PHLY50 off and use code PHLY50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. The Flyers have 16 games in 31 days between now and, between tomorrow and the Olympic break, Charlie. They go to the Olympic break. They play February 5th, and they don't play again until the 25th. They come back with, of course, back-to-backs at Washington and then at the Rangers. But this is going to be a really condensed schedule. It's going to be really condensed on the way back from the Olympics as well. There's like a ton of games in like even fewer days.
Yeah, we're going to die.
I think they might play
me and you specifically and Brenna are going to die.
Not the players. They'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
I think there's like a double header in there at some point. Like the schedule's insane. We were just saying during the break, Charlie. But you take a look at what's going on in the Eastern Conference. The Metro Division specifically, let's take a look at right now.
Okay.
Man, every team has the same record, basically. Even Carolina, who's really good. They're 5 points up on the second wild card. You know, that's what they are looking at right now. You look at the division as a whole, like, oh yeah, there's the Rangers, there's the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are in last in the division. They're 5 games behind Carolina. That's what we're looking at right now. It is very, very tight. The Flyers are in it, but basically everyone's in it. But right now, just looking at where they are, see where they are in the standings, I want to take a look at this upcoming schedule because I do think this Olympic break is going to be an interesting opportunity for Danny Briere and the other GMs in the league to kind of go into the lab and cook some things up and have conversations without having to have games every other day, basically. They have 3 weeks off. I think it's 19 days, the Flyers, in between. Yeah, that makes sense. 19 days in between games to really put something together. But the Flyers, the team on the ice has to do their part. If Danny Briere is maybe going to buy or at least not sell. We don't think he's going to sell, but who knows? The team has to do their part leading into the Olympics because the trade deadline is like a week after they come back. So I want to take a look at this schedule, Charlie, and you kind of broke it down into 4 different groups and how difficult you thought these games might be.
Yeah, and the way I broke it down was like the obviously tough games, the hard-ish games, then the games that are, they're not hard, but they're not easy. And there's a lot of games like that because that's basically the entirety of the NHL this year, with the exception of maybe like three or four teams. And then the easy games. And even the easy games, like, we can debate this, but I broke it down into 4 different groups.
This should win games.
Yeah,
maybe they're not easy, but I'm expecting 2 points when they play Columbus.
Exactly. So I broke it down into those 4 groups. And it does break down as not impossible, but more difficult than easy, I would say. This is how I have it ranked. So I've got 5 games that rank as truly tough games. That they're games where I'm like, yup, they're hard. They get Tampa at home twice. Now it's at home, but it's Tampa. They're real good. Vegas on the road. I know Vegas hasn't been as good as expected, but I expect them to turn it on at some point, and they're at home.
They're at home.
Like, that is a really tough building to play in. Colorado, I don't care where you're playing them. That's a near impossible game.
They've got 3 regulation losses.
Yeah, like it could be anywhere, and you're probably going to lose to them. And then the Caps, you get the Caps at home. I think the Capitals are, after Carolina, the best team on paper in the Metro, and I would call that a difficult game. I think the Capitals are, on paper, measurably better than the Flyers, regardless of where they're at in the standings at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like you can look at the standings, and the Capitals are in that second wild card right now. But only 3 teams in the Eastern Conference have a double-digit positive goal differential. The Lightning are plus 32. They're killing everybody. Then there's the Caps at plus 14, and then the Canes at plus 13.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Eastern Conference right there. Yes, the Caps maybe haven't won at the rate you were hoping, or that they're hoping, but it feels like they're better than their record, and they're going to be an ascending team. I would agree that those are. I mean, yeah, Colorado again. They don't lose.
Yeah, they've lost 3 times.
They're
in
on
regulation.
they're on pace to have the greatest season ever. They're like a plus 70 goal differential halfway through the season.
They're ridiculous.
Yeah. The Caps are good. Vegas is good. Tampa, unbelievable. Those are the toughest games. All right, if they're able to like come away with 500-ish points percentage from those games, that's
even just 2 wins, like
couple of wins, yeah,
win
like
here and there. Yeah,
that's big.
That's big. And then this is, I think, the big difference. This is the discrepancy between it being like a harder than it's a more hard schedule than easy schedule. You got those 5 games. Okay, those are the tough games. It's hard to find an easy game. Like, I have Utah on here, and this is literally just going by points percentage. They are tied right now for the 3rd worst points percentage in hockey with 3 teams, St. Louis, Chicago, and Calgary, who everyone agrees are bad.
Yeah.
So, like, if they have the same record as 3 bad teams, like, all we can say is that right now, they are also bad. Now, I think on paper, they look better than those teams. But to this
remember
point,
they were going to be a playoff team this year. Remember
but to this point, Utah has been bad.
Yeah.
That said, you're getting them on the road. And maybe they will figure it out because they do have a lot of talented players. So maybe by then they'll be playing better, and that will not be an easy game. Right now, though, if I'm looking at a team that has the same record as the Blackhawks and Flames, I'm going to put that in easy for now.
Maybe the only 2 teams I expect to sell at the deadline.
Exactly. And then the Blue Jackets on the road is another one. They have the 24th best points percentage in the league right now, but I don't think they're terrible.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
I think the Flyers should beat them.
Yeah.
But again, it's a road game, and I don't think the Blue Jackets are awful. So, like, the 2 easy games are games where I'm like, I don't know, they're not that easy.
No.
Whereas the 5 hard games, I'll go to bat for them being hard.
Yeah. The hard ones, depending, like, especially when you put the rest in there, like it's the second game of a back-to-back versus a rested opponent, that's difficult.
Yeah, that's the Penguins game.
Like, hardish for Buffalo, like, all right, it's Buffalo. You got to LOL at them sometimes, but they also did just win 10 in a row.
Yeah, they've been playing really well.
And you got to go there.
Yes. And their underlying numbers are good. Their underlying numbers really had been good all year. Now they're finally getting the results to match. I don't know where they're going to be when the Flyers play them, but I can tell you right now, Buffalo's feeling pretty good about themselves, and they play them in like a little over a week. It's Buffalo, so they could lose their next 4, and then you're like, it's an easy one again.
That's the thing.
Right now, they feel good about themselves, so I'm going to call that a hard-ish game. And then you just have a bunch of games where it's like, they could win or lose any of these games. Like Anaheim, they're lucking out that Anaheim's been dipping a bit, and they're getting them in the second game of a back-to-back, so they probably should win tomorrow's game. But Anaheim has exceeded expectations this year. That they could lose that game.
First home game after a long road trip is always difficult. This is a thing that we say every single year. I am hoping the atmosphere and the fact that maybe Anaheim's a little tired kind of counteracts whatever, jet lag the Flyers have or whatever. But that is always difficult.
Yeah, and then you've got like Toronto. Okay, they're underachieving this year, but they still have Austin Matthews, who apparently like over the last couple of days remembered how to score goals again. So hey, they could be difficult.
He really wanted that 420 number.
I guess so. The Rangers, the Islanders, like the Bruins, the Kings, the Ottawa, like they're all fine.
These are all decent teams.
They're all decent teams. Like none of these are gimmies.
No,
they could lose all these games.
And then it's Utah and the Blue Jackets, and it's like who the hell knows? So this is going to be a difficult road here leading into the Olympic break,
easy.
Charlie, which makes me want to ask, how seriously should Briere look into upgrading this team before March 6th, which is the deadline?
I mean, I would say not seriously at all, but I'm of the opinion that like this is a let it ride year. Like I don't want them to trade anybody, but I don't want them to be buying unless you're buying someone who can be part of this for the long term.
I wouldn't, rentals aren't interesting to me. If there is a young-ish player. I don't know anyone who's like trading 22-year-olds out there, but like there's a young-ish player with some term, that interests me. A guy who's going to be an RFA but has a couple years of team control, that interests me.
Sure.
If it's a hockey trade, like, all right, we traded someone, but we got something back at a position of need, I'm interested in that as well. But it is as much about the future as it is the current. I want the current. The playoffs would be cool. but it also has the benefit as 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now.
Yeah, the only rental-ish trade I could see them making is like maybe they trade like a 4th or 5th round pick for a center
For another goal. I thought you were going to say another goalie.
For a 4C. Oh, you're on the like get rid of Ersson, replace him, and get a better backup for the stretch run.
If you look,
I can see the justification.
If you look at the standings, it's going to come down to like 2 games, and those are going to be Ersson games. Like that's just the way I see it. Who knows? Maybe Dan Vladar falls off too, but he's been really freaking good thus far.
I don't think I would do that,
Okay.
which is why I'm not talking about it, because
All right.
I would just ride Ersson the rest of the way and then make a decision on him in the offseason as to whether you see him as part of this or whether you're pulling the plug. I guess I can see the justification.
That's probably what makes the most sense, and we will see, like, you know, Danny and Jonesy come into the year like, listen, the playoffs would be cool, but it's not like the priority. We'll see if that's true when the playoffs are in striking distance. If it's like, we can get a goalie with an 898 right now. You know what that is? Way better than Sam Ersson. Maybe it is worth a lower end asset. A lower end asset. I'm not giving up something of value.
I think that's where I'm at, is that I just feel like if you're going to get a goalie who's a clear-cut upgrade over Ersson, like, you know, he's an upgrade, not let's just throw darts and hope that this waiver claim is better than Ersson.
Not a waiver claim.
But like an actual trade, I think you're probably going to have to be giving up like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And I just don't see them doing that when they have so many young goalies coming.
And there's only like 7 good goalies in the NHL, so it's kind of difficult to find that guy.
But hey, look, it's one of those things where like I wouldn't do it, but I think a compelling argument could be made. Like, it's not an argument that I just dismiss, because the reality is Ersson hasn't been good, and we're now coming up on the 41 game mark, and he still hasn't been good.
Tomorrow is game 41.
Trying to make the playoffs. I get it.
Tomorrow's game 41. We're halfway through the season. We're getting close to 2 years of the Ersson experiment, and it ain't going well. That's all. All right, one more break, and we'll come back, talk about Matvei Michkov, read your super chats, all that stuff. But now, got to take our last break. You've got to channel the fresh start energy of the new year and finally launch your business with Shopify. 2026 is the year you rewrite your story, own your future, and make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. Start your business with Shopify in 2026 and become who you're meant to be. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Shopify gives you all the tools to easily build your dream store. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates that you can customize to match your brand, and marketing is built in too. Create email and social campaigns that reach customers whenever they scroll. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. Go to shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Hear your first this new year with Shopify by your side. We all know the feeling. You walk into a jewelry store trying to pick out something special for your significant other, and suddenly you're in over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between these diamonds? What if they don't like it? The only thing I know is I don't know anything. It's a stressful feeling. And that's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer. These guys make the whole process seamless from the minute you walk in. They treat you like family because they actually listen and they help you figure out what you'll love. And then their team designs something completely custom right there in-house. There's no pressure or pushy sales vibe, just good people who love what they do, and the end result, something you're proud to give and they'll never forget. So next time you need that perfect gift, go see Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design. 30 plus years in the game, voted Philly's #1 jeweler year after year, and over 1,000 5-star reviews speak for themselves. Check them out today at BucciJewelers.com and tell them the guys at PHLY sent you. All right, it's time for the Michkov of it all, Charlie. I love your little bit in your article so much, I've decided to steal it for our show.
Beautiful.
Because it wouldn't be a show without talking Matvei Michkov.
Right.
Many believe him to still be the main character of this team, despite, you know,
all evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, despite the production and Trevor Zegras. But we got to talk a little bit about Mish, because there are some things I wanted to discuss, like the penalties and that, because I actually, dove a little deeper into the numbers that we were talking about the other day. Okay. But first couple of things I want to look at are
Is that he didn't practice today.
yeah, he wasn't on the ice at practice today.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's worth a little bit of concern because we didn't, when we asked Rick Tocchet after practice what it was, we didn't get the, it's a maintenance day, or, he's just got the flu. He'll be out for a couple days, but then he'll be fine. It was, he took a puck off the foot in the last game. We didn't know it was a problem until he got to the arena today and told us, and now we're getting it checked out. It could be nothing. I look back through the tape. It appears most likely to be a friendly fire incident. Trevor Zegras tried to do a pretty heavy pass, had some real mustard on it across ice, and just hit him right on the left foot. And Michkov, it seemed like he actually let out a little bit of a yelp after he took the puck to the foot. But then he played the rest of the shift. It was a power play shift in the third period, and he got 2 more shifts the rest of the game. Those final 2 shifts, he looked fine. So it very well could have been an example of took the skate off and foot blew up. Hopefully it's just a bruise, but when you say we're checking it out, that's not, we checked it out and it's just a bruise. Hopefully that's all it is, and he's on the ice tomorrow and he plays in the game against Cutter, Gauthier, and the Ducks, but worth keeping an eye on because you never like to see Michkov injured.
No. All right.
Or even banged up.
No, and he's never missed a game in his career in the NHL due to health.
Yeah,
due to health.
Due to health. Yeah, he missed 2.
He missed 2. He was benched. He was not injured. He was healthy scratched. In fact, it was made a point to say that he's healthy. All right, Chuck. I do want to talk about the penalty thing we got into on a post game a couple of nights ago, because it is kind of this might be the thing that's annoying me most about his game, because I'm resigned to, hey, maybe he'll come around in the second half or something, but really, all right, he's on pace for 47 points. It's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. He's just having a sophomore slump. He'll hit it hard this offseason, and we'll get the year we were hoping for this year next year. All right, I can live with that. This penalty thing, though. He is 38 penalty minutes this season, leads the team, tied for 21st in the NHL amongst forwards. All of 57 seconds of penalty minutes a game, second on the team behind Delorier, 50th amongst NHL forwards. 18 minor penalties, leads the team, second amongst NHL forwards. So I decided, the stick penalties are annoying me. I'm going to look into how many there have actually been. Okay. The answer is 12 of his 18 penalties, or 26 of his 38 PIMs, because there was a double minor in there, are stick penalties. When I say stick, I mean trip, slash, hook, high stick. You're either being lazy or you're not paying attention to where your stick is. I decided to take the one cross check out, because while that is technically, you hit him with the stick, it's more aggression than it is not moving your feet.
Sure.
So I didn't count that. So 12 of the 18 stick penalties. And as we said the other night on postgame, only 7 penalties drawn, 8th on the team, tied with Nick Seeler, and 186th amongst NHL forwards. So he's taking a ton, not drawing any. Is this serious issue for you, especially the number of stick penalties? It's all right, man, move your feet. Stop tripping and hooking guys.
I guess it depends on your definition of it. Is it a big deal? It's a big deal now because the Flyers are trying to make the playoffs. They're winning a fair amount of games. They're in the mix. And a guy who is a pretty darn important player, whether he's getting the ice time to reflect it, arguable, but he's an important player on this team. He's a major, again, this is why I hate this system. He's a good point producer. He may not be producing a lot of points now, but he's a good point producer. He's going to produce points.
It's gonna happen.
You want him to take fewer penalties because you want to be able to put him out on the ice more and not have to worry about having to kill penalties. It's a big deal now because I want him to take less penalties. Do I think it's a major problem for his future? No. It's like a young offensive lineman learning learning how to play offensive line without taking holding penalties. I'm pretty confident he'll eventually figure out how to not take a lot of stick penalties. Right now, though, it's frustrating. I want him to take fewer penalties. It's hurting the team.
He's got, let's see here, 8 fewer penalty minutes than he did in 80 games last year, Charlie. He's played 40. That's not great. So do you think this is a direct result of the conditioning? When I say tripping and hooking especially, all right, you're not moving your feet. That means maybe you're reaching rather than skating because you're not in great shape. Do you think this is a result of conditioning?
I think it was in the beginning. in the beginning of the year, I definitely remember a few where it felt like he was taking penalties because he wasn't with the play. I don't think so now. It seems like a lot of the penalties, like I'm thinking back to the one that he took against Edmonton on Saturday. Like, yeah, I guess he's a little bit behind the play.
He's just dumb high stick.
But that was just a dumb high stick. It was just reckless. Like, you just have to take better care of your stick and make sure you don't accidentally bop a guy across the face with your stick when you're chasing him down through the neutral zone. Like, so could it be part of it? Sure. I mean, if he was 2 steps faster, he probably wouldn't be taking penalties because then he would be able to use his body. But I think it's more just discipline. It's more just discipline and taking more care as opposed to like, well, he's just so exhausted he has to take a stick penalty. I think a lot of the penalties, the stick penalties he's taken have been just unnecessary stick penalties that he's got to learn from.
All right, we're gonna start doing a little bit more, like making sure we get one of these topics in every day. So I have other Michkov stuff here, but I'm saving it for we actually have a bunch of 4 o'clock shows this week. So
and the other thing too
we're gonna be able to
is
save
that
them.
we have our first post-practice notes video in a while that will be coming out later tonight, and I'll have more details, including direct words from Rick Tocchet on the Michkov of it all. Not everything you're annoyed with Rick Tocchet about the injury, you absolute lunatics.
Say, was he upset to be asked about why he wasn't there?
I think that's a reasonable question to ask when a guy is the only guy who doesn't make it to practice.
He should have been like, we traded him.
Check out my post-practice notes because that will all be in there.
Rick Tocchet's just like, I traded him. I didn't even ask Danny. I did it. Like, just to mess with
just
people. All right. I want to touch on Denver Barkey real quick, then we'll do some Zamula stuff just because it's funny. Denver Barkey, it was asked. Rick Tocchet was asked about Barkey's future, and he says you can't have a guy living out of a suitcase long term, and that he, Danny, and Jonesy will have a discussion about him and continue to evaluate. I just feel like I don't know if you tell him, hey man, use your check this week to like put a down payment on a place, but I don't know if it's that, but you gotta. Maybe like dangling the carrot is how you make sure like he keeps up the effort level and everything, because that's been so impressive. I just feel like we said the other night on postgame, he's bought himself some time at least. Like there ain't no reason for him to go back anytime soon.
I mean, they just matched his line up against Leon Draisaitl, and his line won by a lot.
Like considerably.
They killed them. So I'm pretty sure that at least at this moment, Denver Barkey has proven he is an NHL caliber player. Now, the one thing that maybe does worry them a little bit is, he kind of got lucky in the sense that he got injured, and then he got injured right into a break where he was able to come back, and he didn't have to miss games because of the injury that was a headache. Yeah, I wonder what that was. Maybe there was a little bit of a concern that, maybe he's not ready for 45 NHL games at age 20. That could play into it. But in terms of, talent level and hockey IQ and ability to impact the game, his underlying numbers are amazing. I'm not even going to get into them yet because we're still only at a 7-game sample size, but they're really good. This guy is playing well enough to be in the NHL. He's got 3 points in 7 games. He's driving play. He's passing the eye test. At this point, I don't know how you send him back.
And to me, the injury thing, I get he's small, he's young, you don't want to get him killed. If he's, like we saw last year with Emile Andre, Matthew Olivier is just tossing him around out there and he's got separated shoulder or something. All right, that's an area of concern. Eric Lindros was 6'4", 240, had a lot of concussions. Anyone can get concussed. Ryan Poehling got concussed. Garnet Hathaway, one of the baddest dudes in the league, got concussed last year. These things can just kind of happen. So, that doesn't concern me as much as, if he was to take a number of hits that were just kind of wearing him down, and then suddenly it's he's, considerably slower than he was a week ago. That would be something where I was, all right, maybe just not physically ready yet. But I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that from, again, only 7 games. We'll see. But I don't have that concern right now about him.
I just could see a world where, we're going back to the Emile Andre from last season, where, if there's multiple games in a row where he takes a big hit and then gets up, he's, a little groggy or even just, holding his shoulder, and even if he's not that hurt, and they're like, it's just a bruise, maybe that makes them think it's not going to kill him to spend another couple months in the minors and then use this summer to be really NHL ready.
And with that, we're headed to overtime. Go to allphly.com to continue watching today's show. All right, so that's Barkey. It kind of seems like that conversation's going to be Like if I'm Rick Tocchet, the conversation is, you want me to win games, right? Give me the guy who's helping me do that.
Yeah.
Like I kind of need him. And who else? Like who's banging down the door? Like Alex Bump just got back from being hurt. Injury, like I don't see anyone banging down the door. Do we need more ice time for Carl Grundstrom? Like the hot streak's probably over. It was a nice fun time. Seemed like he was best suited on the fourth line. I don't see a need for Barkey to go anywhere. All right, let's hit Zamula real quick, Charlie. And while we're doing it, why don't you hit that like button?
Like button. We're at 123 likes.
Come on, we're going to overtime. We haven't done a 4 p.m. show in a while. We're going to talk about, hey, Danny Briere, if nothing else, got something for nothing from the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's fun. Let's talk about Egor Zamula. He was suspended for failure to report to the Penguins AHL affiliate after the trade from Philly, and we found out today he's finally getting that contract termination he was looking for here in Philly. He was placed on waivers for the purposes of contract termination by Pittsburgh today. So good for him, I guess. It just feels like teams have enough cap space to get a guy who's overpaid if they really wanted him. Like there's enough teams out there that can afford the prorated 1.7 that, I don't know, maybe there's a market. He got traded because he wants NHL time. He was on waivers. Anyone could have had him for nothing. Now you have to pay him the 1.7 against the cap.
And you have to keep him in the NHL.
And you have to keep him. But like he didn't report because they sent him to the AHL. Right. He doesn't want that. So if you claimed him, it would be with the understanding, I would assume, that like you're staying up because that's going to make him unhappy if you send him down.
Right.
I just don't think... I feel like he has seriously overvalued his market. That's just what I see.
See, I mean, I guess we'll find out. Like, we're going to find out over the next few days once this termination goes through, whether he has a market. Dan Milstein is, generally speaking, like an agent who's plugged into the NHL. I would have to imagine that he wouldn't have advised his client to go this route unless he knew from multiple teams in the NHL that, like, well, yeah, if he's on an $850 salary cap, we'll pick him up and use him as our 7. Like, yeah. If that doesn't happen, then Milstein gave Zamula some real bad advice, because that's clearly what's been pushing this. The implication we've seen on social media whenever these reports have come out is that if his cap hit was lower, a team would be willing to keep him on their NHL roster. Now we're going to find out if that's true. If it's not true, then Milstein did a bad job. But he's a pretty good agent. I'm expecting him to have read this situation correctly.
Man, I realize there's only a few months left in the season, and like he already got paid last year. He already got paid a bulk of what he's going to make this year. I know there's just more prestige in the NHL. I feel like I'd rather just make double and play in the AHL than like have to go looking for a league minimum NHL deal.
Yeah, but I think his view probably, because you got to remember the Russian factor.
He can always just go home and make that same money.
Yeah, he's like, his choice is not, less money in the NHL versus more money in the AHL. It's less money to play in the NHL, or I could just go back to the KHL and make $4 million.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, I realize like the AHL is quite a bit above the ECHL, like just in terms of level of prestige. Like, did you hear some of the stuff that the ECHL players were demanding? And the strike's over, it's cool, it looks like they got some stuff. It was like, you're giving guys used helmets. Yeah. Stop that. Yeah. Give us days off after we play 3 games in 3 days. Like, I realize the AHL is above that, but they still do have like, oh yeah, man, you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's all bus trips.
Yeah,
like that still happens quite a bit in the AHL.
And for Russians, it's just the prestige thing.
Yeah, and then there's that too.
It's like, well, if I'm gonna be away from my home country and in a country that all things being equal, I'd rather not be in, I'm not gonna be spending that time in the AHL. If it's a choice between the AHL and the KHL, I'm picking the KHL every day and twice on Sundays. Whereas if it's a choice between the NHL and the KHL, well, I want to establish myself in the best league in the world.
It looks like they got a decent enough player. Tomasino is a good AHL player, and over 200 NHL games, you could have worse guy to call up at some point and position where they don't have a ton of depth.
They're using him at center, which is interesting because he's mostly been a wing at the NHL level, and even in the AHL level, he's played a lot of wing. First game he gets in, they pop him in the middle. It almost makes you wonder, like we talked about it a few minutes ago, about, could they be buyers? Could they address that 4C hole? Maybe they're like, hey, this is a cheap way to see if maybe we can kind of conjure up a better 4C than Rodrigo Abols. If Tomasino shows in the AHL that he can be point per game at center, then hey, if Abols goes 3 weeks without a point, maybe we give Tomasino a chance, and then maybe we got a 4C that on deadline day we'd have to spend a 4th round pick to get for essentially nothing because Zamula wasn't going to play for us.
Yeah, and Zamula was making 1.7. He's an RFA this offseason. I think Tomasino makes like 50 grand more, and he'll be an RFA. Yeah, he's at 1.750. So he makes 50 grand more. Basically the exact same cap hit. They didn't go anywhere, but I feel like nice work by Danny to get something for a guy who didn't want to be here.
It seems like in retrospect, Zamula reported to the AHL, but then you had the report out from Friedman saying he wants a termination. It seems like Danny knew that at some point Zamula is going to stop showing up to work in Lehigh Valley, and they were going to have to terminate. So then it was, okay, well, rather than terminate, can we get literally anything for him? They got something for him, and then Pittsburgh had to terminate him anyway. So basically, Pittsburgh just gave the Flyers Tomasino.
Yeah, I like that.
And even if Tomasino, most likely what's going to happen is he's going to spend the rest of the year in the AHL, and then the Flyers aren't going to qualify him, and they're going to let him walk for nothing. That was the same thing that was going to happen with Zamula.
He's a good pro playing center with our young guys. That helps them develop.
Yeah.
We've been saying for years, the Phantoms, it feels like there's a developmental issue. If we just have a little bit more going on in the AHL, maybe some of these players will develop faster, and it looks like that could be happening. Denver Barkey, we thought was a year away. No, he's here and he's good.
Yeah.
Or at least a year away. All right, I think we have a super chat or two. Oh, we got up to 3 super chats. Let's hit those and then call it a day. Started off with Hat-Trick Patrick. Is it possible that Porter Martone could be effective as a center eventually? Is that unlikely? Has he ever played center? Just wondering what you think.
He did say he played center when we talked to him at development camp. Hat-Trick Patrick, I think it is highly unlikely. Is it theoretically possible? Sure, you can't rule anything out, but I would guess that would be something that they would, let's say he's not coming to the NHL and they're not going to turn him into a center immediately. They're going to let him develop as a wing, and then maybe if 2-3 years down the road he's killing it at wing and he's showing the coaches that he can do all the little things, they're like, yeah, maybe we'll give him a look at center, but don't be counting on Porter Martone as a potential solution to the center problem.
I always feel he played center when he was younger.
Because everybody
That's yeah, man, he played shortstop and center field.
Yeah,
he played quarterback. Yeah, he's going to be in the NHL. He probably could have been in the NHL this year. He's really good. Of course, he played the premier position.
Yeah.
All right. From JH. JH says, looking forward to Michkov drama this week, Bill.
I am not. I think that was just a reference to you bringing him up again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think, right now, I don't believe there to be drama. I just think it's he's not producing the way I want him to. I'm kind of resigned to a sophomore slump. I don't think that means he's going to be a bust. I still think he's going to be very good. Just ain't happening this year. He can work on the skating and conditioning in the offseason, and guess what? He'll be a point-a-game player next year.
That would be awesome.
We'll be all right.
That'd be great.
It's just annoying because I'm covering the team now and I don't have a time machine. All right, another one here from JH. Does William have the Philly flu tomorrow?
Oh, no, I think Gauthier really wants this game.
I think he's...
I think the first game...
After that one, he got embarrassed on the national stage.
He didn't want that game.
Yeah.
This game, where he's playing really well, no, I think he's going to coming into this game thinking, this is when I'm really going to stick it to those Philly fans. So, Philly fans, bring your A game.
Pre-game, a spoiler for pregame tomorrow. Yeah, he's going to be in the pregame picks for an anytime goal. All right. I had him last year, too. I had him and Mish, and Mish did score. Cutter didn't, so that was fun. That was more of an emotional hedge. This one's just I see this one coming. All right. And finally from Hat-Trick Patrick, Quitter Gauthier day-to-day with an illness, dehydration from crying himself to sleep before having to suck versus the Flyers tomorrow. That is
I'm just
funny.
saying. Flyers,
is there any injury
Flyers
designation?
Fans, bring your A game.
I just want to see if there's any injury designation real quick, or if this is just people being funny.
I think it's just people.
Cutter doesn't look like anything about him being sick. I was just making sure. Anyway, if you want to go to this game, there are still tickets available. allphly.com/events. You can join us for our sweet takeover. It's gonna be a great freaking time. Best game of the year last year. I'm expecting it to be even better because, as JH points out in the final super chat, not only do we have Jamie, we have Trevor, and we all know they're both better. Trevor Rhymes,
we
too.
got another super. JH, you got to stop with the super chats after the buzzer. But we got
that was that.
Jamie, Trevor, clap, clap, clap. Jamie, Trevor, clap, clap, clap.
Yeah, so we have both of them now. It's going to be a great time. Get your tickets at allphly.com/events. Join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. That's all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, follow us right here on YouTube and hit that like button. Make sure you're following us for pre and post tomorrow. We're going to be at the Sweet Takeover, and then we're going to be back here for post game, so make sure you join us. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you to Brenna. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.